It don't matter the color of the skin, either woman or man, just let the case land. It's here, it's in safe hands. This is God work, not a fake plan. Too many kids being found in these lakes, man. This is MTGV, and you with Miss V. She keep her ear to the street, like a drum to a
Welcome
beat.
in, everybody.
This is the place that you wanna be, but all trolls we delete.
Please smack that thumbs up.
Just so you know we on go.
Thank you. And before we get to the real issue of homicide charge, I'm going to make sure that people's intent to increase count 3, which is currently criminal sexual conduct second degree, to criminal sexual conduct first degree, person under 13, defendant 17 years of age or older. We have the defendant's birthday on the record, and that would be based on the testimony of the one minor witness that testified, as well as Cordell Wright's testimony. The minor witness testified that it happened at the old shop. When Ms. Ripley was asking questions, she identified that as being the location. Cordell Wright testified back in November that they didn't move from that shop, which was at East Warren and Neff in the city of Detroit, until May or June. Based on ZIYAH's birthday, which is in her medical records, at that time she would have been 12 years old. And the minor witness testified clearly describing an act of penetration, specifically penis to anal opening.
Whoa.
With respect to the criminal sexual.
Hold on now. I didn't know they was about to say that. God dang it. Shout out to everybody in the building. I have not heard this. And shoot. Hold on. I might need to turn something off. I have not heard this. I don't know if y'all heard this, but we listening in. I want to listen to this before I do what I wanted to do, because I literally just ran across this, and I was questioning some testimonies up there. You know, King and Jarvis, like the timeline is not adding up. What though? What? Man, that is so disturbing. Let me just hit play. We here now.
Child sexually abusive activity, that would be based on the text messages as well as the minor's testimony as well. Combining those two things satisfies the elements of those charges. However, going to count 1 in murder in the first degree premeditated.
Let me, as a matter of fact, put up a trigger warning. This may be triggering to some people. This is a crime channel, and this is what we do, but nothing is meant to shock anybody. This channel is for 18 and up, so if you are not 18, you shouldn't be here. Justice for ZIYAH Harris. This is who we're talking about. 13-year-old little girl who went missing January 9th, 2024. And so we're listening to the preliminary hearing. I'm questioning the timeline. The timeline is not adding up, and I'm going to play a couple testimonies here and see what y'all think about what we're listening to. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not. If you're here on a replay, drop down in the comments and let me know what you think. Also, hit the thumbs up. And if you're here right now, thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the thumbs up. Welcome to Make This Go Viral Crime Podcast.
I would like to go through and put some of the pieces together. And we are standing here today in court on January 9th, 2025, which is 1 year, almost to the minute, the last time ZIYAH was seen on a camera in the city of Detroit, which is on the screen now. The last time that she was seen was on January 9th, 2024.
So that time is, I don't have my glasses.
Getting off of the bus at 3 Mile Drive in Cornwall, walking down Bedford. She was walking towards what she didn't know at the time would be Jarvis Butts and her ultimate murder by him. Take that moment in time and then go to Cordell Wright's testimony where.
So Cordell Wright, he said he and Jarvis picked up ZIYAH after school on 1/9/2024. He and Jarvis picked up ZIYAH after school, proceeded to Ypsilanti, and then back to the shop just before his tether curfew at 9 p.m. That's exactly what I'm questioning. Because something ain't adding up, because the testimonies ain't lining up with that timeline.
Where he testified that they picked ZIYAH up on their way back to their shop at 9000 Connor, and they proceeded with her to that location. We have Jarvis Butts' sister's testimony, Tijuana Butts, who did say that she saw a young girl with a very distinct jacket getting in and out of that car, the white Cadillac Escalade. That would have been before Jarvis, Cordell, and ZIYAH departed for Ypsilanti. We have Sergeant O'Rourke's testimony as to his cell phone locations based on cell tower information and the historical call detail records, which place them consistent going out to Ypsilanti. And then we have Cordell's testimony getting them back to the shop. Talasha Moore also testified to seeing ZIYAH in Ypsilanti with Cordell. And
once they got back to the shop, last time anyone other than Jarvis Butts saw ZIYAH alive. So proceed from there to the Park Crest Inn at 2000 or 20,000 Harper. And then Sergeant corroborates this, and then the hotel receipt confirms this. Okay, so yeah, it was two. He had said that they picked her up on Harper, but we were questioning that location. Now the Park Crest Inn is on Harper Avenue on let me pull that up right quick. It is on Harper Avenue on the other side of town from where she was at, though. So it's a Harper and Connor, and then it's a Harper Avenue. So when Cordell said that he pulled into Angelo's liquor store and they picked her up from there, that's why I'm like, she couldn't have walked there because it's so far. Angel's liquor store and all of that stuff is super far from where her house is at. So let's keep listening.
Jarvis. Cordell, as we know, testified that he had to get back to his house based on his tether hours by 9 p.m. And that is the last time that anyone who is not Jarvis Butts would see ZIYAH Harris alive. From the shop, we proceed out to the Park Crest Inn, where Jarvis Butts checked into a hotel at 9:30 p.m. And Sergeant O'Rourke's testimony corroborates this, placing his phone in the area of that 20,000 Harper address at around midnight till early in the next morning on the 10th.
Okay, on the 10th. So the Park Crest Inn Suites. Now they have him in room 69, and I wonder if that's a room that he always get there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so they got him. He filled it out, got his address and all of that on there as Wilshire, which I forgot which one of them lived there. He signed in at 9:30 p.m. until 12:30 p.m., which that's questionable to me, but okay.
Using the data that you see on the screen and those times. Recapping January 9th, this is the last time that we have any sort of communication from ZIYAH. There was, if you look at those messages that Sergeant Jones went through and read, just between ZIYAH and Jarvis, there was consistent and constant communication.
Definitely was. So it says on January 9th, 2024, the last communication from ZIYAH. It was consistent and constant communication right up until 1/9/2024, and then there was nothing. And that's definitely what he gonna get got on that alone. He knew she was gone. Let's see if he gone.
Up until January 9th. There's also no messages from Jarvis after ZIYAH goes missing on the 9th, looking for her, seeing where she is, trying to find her, trying to help, as anyone should do at that time, her family locate her. There's no messages to her phone, to that text now account from Jarvis Butts' phone. Her legal guardian and grandmother, Annette Harris, has not seen any social media posts. The OIC of the case, Sergeant Jones, has not seen anything for a total of 1 year now.
Okay, so it says Annette, she has not seen any social media posts. The OIC, who was checking for it, did not see anything. Lieutenant George Harris did not see anything after the 9th, and the text now messages stopped completely. Jarvis Butts on the 9th, he borrows Miss Johnson's car overnight. Per Miss Johnson, that was unusual. Then Butts borrows the car again, either on the 10th or the 11th. ZIYAH's glasses are found and immediately seized by the defendant. And then we found out that she was at his shop when that happened. And her son had the glasses. He grabbed it. Oh, these my sunglasses, and whisk them away.
Lieutenant George Harris, who was involved in the investigation in the first month that happened when Jarvis Butts murdered ZIYAH Harris. We also have to look, and it goes to the 15 phenol positive stain markings.
Skipped it too much.
The black hoodie and pink jumpsuit were tested, found in that car sometime after the 10th or 11th when Latricia Johnson was at that shop, and Jarvis Butts snatches them out of her hand. From the Park Crest Inn and from January 9th, we go out to 7 Mile and Burn. This is by far the most important location in this case because we know that the defendant spent from 11:40 p.m. on the 10th to 1:34 a.m., nearly 2 hours in that area, in that wooded area where the Rouge River runs through.
Man, I truly believe that he put her in the water. That's what I was thinking. And at first I was thinking maybe it's a throw off, but he out there for 2 hours. So, and then in between that too, he's texting the other. It's just so much in my head. I'm gonna just let this play, but I need to write this down. So Jarvis' phone was in the area of 7 Mile and Berwick, which is where that shoe was found and all of that stuff. So he started out there at 11:40 p.m. and you know it's super dark out there. Somebody was walking around that area saying that they didn't even know that it exists, basically. So yep, on the 10th, which is also the same day that the lady said, remember, what's his name? Cordell. He was out there. He was kind of waiting on his son to get off of school. So the auntie that testified, hold on, y'all. We gonna play her testimony. Not all of it. I just got little clips. Probably 30 seconds each one of them. Wow. What do y'all think he was doing out there? Could she be buried somewhere out there? Because the reason why I say that is because bodies turn up. And I mean, she hasn't yet. Where could she be?
And to give, this is from the slideshow of the...
Hold on.
The scene photos that were taken at 7 Mile and Burn. This is the area where it's the people's theory Jarvis Butts did at least one of two things: either killed ZIYAH at 7 Mile and Burn, but at the very least dumped her body in this location. We know this because of the evidence that was found there, specifically the black hoodie, which you see in this photo here, as well as the pink bodysuit and the shoes that we confirmed or that are hers based on the picture that the OIC received from her brother. And those items were collected. The black hoodie and pink jumpsuit were tested. And importantly, Breon Green testified as to which swabs were which. This analysis here and hypothesis and results pertains to the right shoulder swab on ZIYAH Harris's black hoodie that she took that picture in when she was in school on January 9th. The one importantly, that Annette Harris testified was in good condition when ZIYAH left. We will get to pictures of that, but this shows that ZIYAH Harris's DNA is there, as well as Jarvis. And importantly, this is one of the stain swabs that was positive, not just for blood, but human blood based on the hemotrace results. In the next one, we have, this pertains to not the stain swabs, but the regular swab that Rion Green testified was a wearer ID swab. Importantly here, Jarvis Butts' DNA from that swab that would have been taken around the neck of that sweater, or the end of the arms of that sweater, is there with very strong support. And of course, ZIYAH's DNA is there as well. And when we look at that sweater, specifically through the PowerPoint photos that Rion Green took and put together, we can see that there is a lot of markings on this. If the court looks closely on this, and I did, there are 15 phenol positive stain markings on this sweater. This is just the front of that sweater. And of course, the court paid attention and saw the markings or the damage to the hood, that it is the people's theory would have been stab wounds or something to that effect that happened when Jarvis Butts murdered ZIYAH Harris. We also have to look, and it goes to the premeditation element as well as everything he did before, at Jarvis Butts' actions, specifically what he did to attempt to conceal or cover up his role in the murder of ZIYAH Harris. First, we have the glasses that he made sure he grabbed directly from Latricia Johnson's hands when shown, that are consistent with the glasses she had in the photo from the 9th when she was in school. We have the jail call to Cordell Wright to get that phone of his out of Miss Davis's car and into someone else's possession, which he testified he tried to do, but was ultimately unsuccessful. And then Sergeant Jones testified that they ultimately did recover that phone from Miss Davis's car. There's the phone call to Latricia Johnson, which was played when she was testifying, saying to get anything he touched clean, to clean anything he touched, to get anything, don't drive her car, drive his mom's car, which is important because when you combine her testimony of when Jarvis Butts took her car, those 2 times on the 9th and 10th, and then either the next day or that same day, it's important because that car is the car that he transported ZIYAH Harris out to 7 Mile and Bird to either dump her body or to murder and then dump her body there.
And that just so happened to be the same person whose address or street she was asking Shannon about. Shannon said on the stand that it was the same week that ZIYAH went missing, that she asked about that location. And that's why I was like, well, maybe she walked to that location and that's where they picked her up at, you know. And then I wondered if he had her car at that time. So I don't know. It's just they lying though on the stand. And then I'm also questioning this record that I'm seeing on Cordell's record. Let me pull that up because I talked about it last time I was here. If I got it in here. I thought I just looked at it. Hold on, y'all. But yeah, we got a record with the same charges that I see on Jarvis' record. But then I heard Roxy saying that they said that was an error, but it was still there. She has said, and this is what I'm talking about right here. That's the same number that's on the other case. So how do they accidentally put something like that on there? I see the date of 10/30/2024, so that would have been after ZIYAH. I don't know. What y'all think about that? That's the same, you know, premeditated. I mean, only thing that's missing is the essay. So I don't know what's up with that. Do he got another? I mean, is it another case he got going on, or is it ZIYAH? Welcome in, everybody. I'm looking at the chat now. I had not looked at it. I'm checking everything out behind the scenes. Welcome in, June. Welcome in, everybody. Thank y'all so much for being here. Shout out to Miss Truth Teller, or Truth the Boss. I keep calling you the Truth Teller. But hey, June and Northern, my phone is freezing up. Yeah, let me know what y'all think about this. Do y'all question those testimonies? Welcome in, Miss TT. Shout out to my member in the building. Shout out to my BFF in the building. Shout out to my sniper, the HMIC in the building. Y'all can't bully me now. Look, I was live earlier and I could barely pay attention to the chat. They was getting over in the chat earlier, but I blocked a few people. Then a couple snipers came in. But let this keep playing. So let me see. It says the cover-up, Jarvis bus cover-up was the glasses that he grabbed from Latresa Johnson, the phone call to Cordell to get his phone, the phone calls to Latresa to clean anything he touched, wipe everything down, and don't drive your car. Get your mama's car. And she was just like mute kind of on the phone. She said she ain't do none of that though. What an attitude. And then the lies, he denies to Detective Mays that he was with ZIYAH. Let me uncover this right quick. Never mind. I'll just read it. He denies to Detective Mays that he was with ZIYAH or had talked to ZIYAH at all on the 9th. As a matter of fact, he said that the last time he seen ZIYAH was the end of December, the beginning of early January, which the 9th is early January. So he just so stupid because number one, if you was gonna go with that, like not seeing her, why would you do that after you done took her all over town? After she been sitting in the car allegedly for hours, but he went with that, right? I guess Cordell would have been the one to back him. You know, like if that was the only one that see it, I guess they forgot there's cameras all around. Is people that's gonna get questioned because they following your locations, and then just the way that his sister was looking at him like, dude, you got me all wrapped up in this. And you sitting there lying. You know what you been. Like the way that this dude is, he been like this all his life. That's what I believe. He been like this all his dang on life. He been doing stuff like this as a kid. Because something happened to him. But at some point, you gotta cut the cord. Just knock it off. Cut the generational curse, on both sides. But anyway, so he denies it to Mays that he even talked to her on the 9th. He denies ever picking her up on the 9th. He did not. So he just screwed already because he caught in so many lies in the interrogation room. Y'all heard the clear audio. Denies even talking to her when confronted with the January 9th messages. He lied, and the messages is right there. I said this is the type of person that would do something in front of the camera and think he can lie his way out of it. That's what he is, a pred. They gonna try it regardless. You could be looking and they gonna try it. And then they gonna tell you don't see what you see. Just sick. Said he never picked her up without Janiyah. Now that was something that stuck out to me with her because I remember the text message when she was like, "Are you gonna pick her up?" And he was like, "Nah, I was never picking her up. You ain't want me to pick her up anyway or whatnot." And then when she went on to say, "Nah, she be this, that's my D, just me, and she be doing too much." So I'm just like, is this dude really doing that? You know what I'm saying? Is he really doing that? The 3, he really doing that? That's what it sound like to me. Because it sound like she was starting to feel a certain way about her being there. You know, no, this mine. She wouldn't say that if it wasn't a reason to say that. That's just sick, man. Okay. Denies ever even Yeah, when confronted with the messages, he denied it. Said he never picked her up without Janiyah. Told Shannon Harris that Naziah texted him on 1/9, and Shannon confirms that she never got a text. Told Shannon Harris that Naziah texted him on 1/9. Shannon confirms that she never got a text from him. Denies going to the hotel and denies the relationship. He denied everything. He really thought he was going to be able to do that with all this evidence. That's crazy. He's stupid. Extra, super stupid.
And we can go through all of the lies that Jarvis Butts told any detective or any officer that he testified to. But in highlighting those, he denies to Detective Mays that he was with Naziah at all or had talked to Naziah at all on the 9th, denies ever picking her up, denies to, even when confronted with the January 9th messages, he said that it wasn't him initially. Obviously, we heard in the subsequent interviews, specifically on June 1st with the OIC, he came off of that. He told Shannon Harris that Naziah texted him on the 9th. She says that he never did that. And we have some of their messages in the record as well. He denies going to a hotel and denies going to a hotel with Naziah Harris and denies having any sort of sexual relationship with Naziah, even though the text now messages completely prove that that is an absolute lie.
And during his interrogation, he actually admitted that he was supposed to pick them up from the grandmother's house on Bedford. He actually admitted to that in the interrogation room. I'm like, this after he denied everything. They was asking him, when was the last time you seen Naziah? What kind of hairstyle did she have? And this dude puts his hands up just like the buns that she had in her head and then tried to change it. Oh, no, he changed it twice. First, he did his hands like the buns, and then he dropped it down and said, "Oh, it was straight braids or whatever." And then he's like, "Nah. As a matter of fact, last time I seen her, she was getting her hair done. No, she was getting her hair did. I don't know what style she had or something. Like, dude, just stupid." And so, yeah, he got caught in a lot of them. Let me see. I'm gonna keep this playing. But wait a minute, let me see what this says. So this is the motive. Jarvis is going into custody for a year. If Naziah was left alive, she would have given birth while he was in custody. January 9th, 2024, sentencing adjourned on February 7th, 2024, and the defendant's legal issue. So, yeah, he already has some stuff going on concerning his daughter and just all kind of stuff, like just sick. Let me see if y'all saying anything. June, I agree. Welcome, nothing like coming into a chat and nobody speaks. I love this chat because everyone's so nice. Yes, we love nice people over here. We kick the mean, stupid, ignorant, rude people out of here, because they just make everything bad. But yeah, I love everybody speaking because I don't like when I go into a chat and speak and nobody speaks. Now, I understand that the host may be busy because I'm a busy host. But when you got moderators, your moderators definitely should greet people. And I have the best ones because they do. Shout out to y'all for making everybody feel welcome because y'all definitely are. I appreciate y'all being here. Okay, so also these messages it says 11/27/2023. All of these messages. Okay, so these are some of them. I don't know. I think what she was trying to say here is I don't know what your problem is, but I need you to bring me what I need tonight. It's hard doing all this gym-ish with this baby, and if I don't do it, I'm going to get an F. If you keep ignoring me, you just not going to get no more P. Answer the phone. You not doing nothing. Please. And then it says, all I'm being, I don't know what this is supposed to mean, but ALR, all I'm being for real, we need to talk about business. When I see you, I'm a F you, till you tell me. I'm a F you till you regret not answering my phone. And then it says, well, at least text me if you're not going to answer. All 11/27/2023.
We also have his motive. We know from Sergeant Jones that he was going to be going into custody supposedly on January 9th for until roughly December, I believe, is what Sergeant Jones testified. We know that that date was adjourned because he said in his interview that he had a legal issue. He said it was out in Clinton Township, but I submit to this point that that's not the legal issue he was talking about. He was talking about the legal issue he would have had if ZIYAH had been left alive. He had to make sure that when he was in custody, that she was not going to give birth to any child of his. That's his motive in this case. That's why that's January 9th. Sentencing date was adjourned to February 7th, so he could take care of that potential legal issue. He was being told consistently by ZIYAH throughout the months that she might.
What? So he said he got it adjourned to take care of ZIYAH? Like, what is he saying?
Jarvis Butts took her car those 2 times on the 9th and 10th, and then either the next day or that same day. It's important because that car is the car that he transported ZIYAH Harris out to 7 Mile and Bird to either dump her body or to murder and then dump her body there.
So if they saying that, then they must have evidence in the car that he did that. I mean, and that would mean you got to have some blood evidence that happened, but I didn't hear anything about that. But I mean, it's a lot of stuff we don't know, but I would have thought that would have been presented. I don't remember hearing about that. How are they so sure that? But he said transport, not unalive in, but you would think that fluids would get on the car. But let's keep going.
And we can go through all of the lies that Jarvis Butts told any detective or any officer that he testified to. But in highlighting those, he denies to Detective Mays that he was with ZIYAH at all or had talked to ZIYAH at all on the 9th, denies ever picking her up, denies to, even when confronted with the January 9th messages, he said that it wasn't him initially. Obviously, we heard in the subsequent interviews, specifically on June 1st with the OIC, he came off of that. He told Shannon Harris that ZIYAH texted him on the 9th. She says that he never did that. And we have some of their messages in the record as well. He denies going to a hotel and denies going to a hotel with ZIYAH Harris and denies having any sort of sexual relationship with ZIYAH, even though the text now messages completely prove that that is an absolute lie. We also have his motive. We know from Sergeant Jones that he was going to be going into custody supposedly on January 9th for until roughly December, I believe, is what Sergeant Jones testified. We know that that date was adjourned because he said in his interview that he had a legal issue. He said it was out in Clinton Township, but I submit to this point that that's not the legal issue he was talking about.
So, I mean, is he saying that he was still okay? So this man literally hadn't did anything with her before he went to court? Because remember, like, I mean, if he really thought that he was going to be arrested, it sounded like he left loose ends because his court date was on the 9th. And then they continued it to February 7th because he said he got other legal issues and they didn't double check that. And now this man saying, no, he needed to finish getting rid of her or get rid of her, or was it? Yeah, I'm real confused on this right now. So, yeah. So yeah, January 9th then.
He was talking about the legal issue he would have had if ZIYAH had been left alive.
So he was able to say, don't lock me up right now. I got another legal issue, but he didn't have one. I'm just trying to figure it out. Or is he just saying, like, her glasses were left in that car? Yep. Look, we got Miss King in the building. I was calling King. I wasn't calling him Cordell. I've been calling him King the whole time. We got Miss King in here. I'm teasing. But low key, hey there. Oh, we got a low key in the building. Okay, let it keep playing.
He had to make sure that when he was in custody, that she was not going to give birth to any child of his. That's his motive in this case. That's why that's January 9th. Sentencing date was adjourned to February 7th, so he could take care of that potential legal issue. He was being told consistently by ZIYAH throughout the months that she might be pregnant, and then on 11/27, she says to him that it's hard to do this gym shit with this baby. Less than a week or 2 weeks later, he's searching on Google how to abort a baby, how to not just abort a baby or get an abortion, but how to do it at home, how to get rid of that without any medical professional or any responsible mandated reporter knowing about it. We clearly have that motive. And obviously, Judge, one of the big issues in this case is proving that ZIYAH Harris is dead without having a body. On January 9th, she vanished off the face of the earth. There is absolutely no evidence after the 9th that she was alive, that she was sending messages to anyone. Her, again, legal guardian had not seen her since the 9th.
It just seemed like they should need more than that, though. Like, I would love to know what else they got, though.
No one else, officers, friends, family have seen her since the 9th. There's no social media posts reviewed by any officer to this day that would indicate she was alive. There's no messages, no further messages on text now after the 9th. There is a full and complete stop of any activity that would indicate she was alive. And Judge, I submit.
That's crazy. So has not the grandmother haven't seen her. No one else has seen her. No social media, no text or text now. And a full and complete stop to any activity. All of that got something to do with a cell phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if somebody take your phone away from you, then you won't have access to none of that stuff. And so I'm just trying to figure out what's the solid evidence that she gone. Like, why are they so sure? Because this don't read sure to me. You know what I'm saying? It just don't. But I guess they know. I mean, I'm just thinking about, you've heard of people being taken and they have them for years. You know what I'm saying? So how do we know something like that ain't happening? I mean, I'm just saying that simply because I don't feel like that's enough. Like, to say. And like I said, I don't think they smart enough, but like, you know how people talk about the dark web and underground tunnels and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know. Do y'all feel like that's enough to deem somebody unalived? I mean, I hope they find her body or wherever she at. Yeah, I do too. Like, I mean, that's closure right there. You need that. Just like how I'm having doubt, I'm sure like family that loves her may have some doubt. Like, I would just like to know a little bit more. Like, is it a certain, I mean, I ain't hear nothing about no massive amounts of blood or anything. That's why I'm like, where they getting it from? I mean, let's keep going.
To this point, that if that were the evidence that we had at this point, that would be enough at this point for a probable cause determination to show that she is in fact deceased today. However, there is more than that. Okay. Her hoodie found at 7 Mile and Berg, which we just saw a photo of, has Jarvis Butts' DNA on it. And ZIYAH Harris's DNA on it, and it is covered in blood, indicating that something traumatic happened to her. And all the other evidence shows that something traumatic happened to her at the hands of Jarvis Butts. And then we go back to his motive. Was told by ZIYAH that she was pregnant, searched all of the home abortion procedures, and was going to go into the Wayne County Jail until December, which we just passed, of 2024. Judge, I submit to this court that the evidence that you have heard over the last 4 days proves not only that ZIYAH Harris is currently deceased, but also that she was murdered by the defendant, who had plenty of motive to do so, had plenty of opportunity to do so, and he did that. And I will note that the defendant in this case, Jarvis Butts, does not get a break because he successfully hid her body. The evidence to a probable cause determination, which the question is she probably dead? And did the defendant probably do that? Both questions are answered with a yes, based on all of the evidence that you have seen. I would reserve any further arguments for rebuttal. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Well, let's see what she got to say. I hadn't heard this testimony, these testimonies.
I know how well aware the court is that we have a very serious task here. We've been here for 4 days, and at this point, we have to look critically at what we've heard and what we've seen over the last 4 days and determine if there's enough evidence by a probable cause standard that Mr. Butts committed premeditated first-degree murder. And if you look critically at what the evidence is and the lack of connection between these pieces of alleged evidence, there is not even by a probable cause standard. To bind over on premeditated first-degree murder, there has to be sufficient facts or evidence to show by a probable cause standard that each of the elements of premeditated murder in the first degree were committed. First, there's got to be a death. There has to be evidence of the death, that the defendant caused the death of the deceased, that some action that he made or did caused that person's death, that there was an intent to kill, that the intent to kill was premeditated, and that it was deliberate. And here there is not enough evidence, even by a probable cause standard, that Jarvis Butts caused the death of ZIYAH Harris. There's been no testimony of any eyewitness stating that they saw Jarvis Butts doing any act that could have caused ZIYAH Harris's death. There's been no testimony of any eyewitness that they saw Jarvis Butts doing anything in preparation of doing something that could have caused her death. And there's been no admission of Mr. Butts to support that element. There's not probable cause to believe that Mr. Butts had an intent to kill ZIYAH Harris, nor that he premeditated her death. There's no evidence of any threats made by Mr. Butts to ZIYAH. There's no evidence of any threats made to a third party that he was going to do something or that he had a problem that he had to take care of. The issue or the statement was he had a legal matter. And Ms. Davis testified that she was aware of the issue that he had in Clinton Township, and that she was the one that was driving him around to court. There's no testimony that he took any specific action in a deliberation to kill her, or that in killing her. There's Google searches about legal ways.
Boy, I tell you, they don't even have an argument, and they actually sound crazy as hell. Like, all the evidence against this guy, I mean, it's he can't even deny it. And his record alone, like, anytime you could do this to your own, like, dude, like, come on. Everything about him says that he's guilty. His actions. And so that means that he left court and he had one woman take him to court. He left, went back and got that woman's car again. So where did he have her at then? That means that he would have had to have her sitting somewhere. Could it have been she was in the hotel room? Like, how did he know he was going to get out to be able to do this? How was he so sure that he was going to be able to get back out? He would have just left her wherever she was at? He wouldn't have had no choice. I'm just now finding out that this happened. Like he went to court and then he came back out and still moving around about the ZIYAH. How did he know he was gonna get out?
Ways to abort a child, not how to kill somebody or dispose of a body.
I mean, evidently he thought that he was about to do some time. That's why he needed to do this on that specific date, And then he left loose ends. I mean, am I understanding this correctly? Like, I mean, because I don't think I didn't know that. Not her black and white shoe and starter coat. Huh? Okay, let me keep it playing.
There's no evidence that he did anything related to the Google searches. There's no receipts of purchases or anything like that. And
just because it ain't no receipt don't mean you didn't make a purchase.
These text messages were 2 weeks after. They were, I believe, December 9th and 10th, which was, I believe, 2 weeks or 13 days from 11/27/23, which is the text message about gym class. And then there's this kind of cryptic text message in between that says it healed. We don't know what that means, but we don't know what Mr. Butts took that to mean. It doesn't necessarily mean that he believed she was pregnant. There's no evidence of a pregnancy. We have medical records until, I believe it's October of 2023, that don't indicate a pregnancy. That she has.
October of 2023, they got records. Did they take a test?
Been to the doctor in September when she originally texts or messages Mr. Butts and says she thinks that she's pregnant. There's no evidence of a pregnancy. She went to the doctor. We heard from both her guardian, her grandmother, and her aunt, Shannon Harris, who lived with her. No testimony from either of them that they suspected that she was pregnant.
Well, clearly she ain't heard the latest news that dropped on 7 Mile, which is, that's kind of definitely messing with the investigation. But yeah, we got her testimony right over here. Y'all want me to play it for you? She definitely has given her statement on that. Buying a pregnancy test. Not just one, but two.
That there was any medical.
And asked her, how far are you pregnant? That's what she asked her. The line was faint. So she went and bought another one. And I don't know was it another 2 faint lines? Like, these people sat on this. And like I said, you could be pregnant as all get out and have menstruals. So all that don't mean nothing. She could have been off because he liked to go buy morning after pills probably a month later. Like, he was even looking up morning after pill. This is, dude, how many months later you talking about a morning after pill? Why you even looking that up in December? Stupid.
Issues that they had to take care of because that would have caused them to think that she was pregnant. There was an insinuation, was she wearing baggy clothing? Was she wearing bigger clothing? There was no testimony that they had to go out and buy new clothes for her because her clothes didn't fit, but that she started wearing baggy clothing.
We got so many pictures to show that she went from a belly shirt, crop tops to coats and sweatshirts and all of that stuff. Like, if only they was paying attention, all of the stuff that she talking about could have been debunked. There we go. Slim. Wait, let me move this video. But y'all already know this. Y'all know we got evidence of all that mess she talking about. Please subscribe and press that notification bell and thumbs up. Please subscribe. Thank you for sharing me. Thank you for sharing me. Thank you for sharing me. For sharing me. For sharing me. For sharing me. Thank you for sharing.
What in the fuckity fuck kind of shit is this?
Wow.
What in the...
There she go. One of her little shirts she liked to wear. And where's the big coat at? We know she went to wearing this kind of stuff and hands in the pocket and coats with hoods and all that. So they didn't look far enough. Let's go back to what she talking about.
She was wearing denim pants on the day that she disappeared, and there's no testimony that those were not pants that she had recently bought because she didn't fit into the clothing that she.
Some people wear jeans the whole time, unzipped and buttoned, folded down. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole 9 months. So that's like, I mean, people probably don't even buy maternity clothes like that much. They just buy bigger clothes, you know.
Previously had. There's no evidence of any kind of plan. There's no messaging between Mr. Butts and Ms. Harris that indicates an escalation of animosity between the two of them. In fact, he essentially kind of starts to disengage. And so there's no written evidence that.
Well, he can't disengage when you got somebody knocked up that's seeking help. Like, he disengaged at the wrong time. He was ignoring her. That's what he was doing. So that's beef. That's issues.
He had any kind of plan or any animosity toward her at that point. Our submission would be that he understood at that point that she wasn't pregnant and was disengaging.
Oh, and that's why he went on searching all these searches and stuff.
Let's talk about what we did see. So we know that ZIYAH.
Let's talk about that interrogation room where he was lying like a rug in there. Everything that came out of his mouth was a lie. And they debunked it and proved it with the text messages that he thought he deleted. But he's innocent, though. There's no proof of anything.
Got on her school bus around 2:45 in the night. She got off the bus a few minutes later, and then she was seen walking up Bedford. She was wearing at that point light colored blue jeans, a black hoodie, and then a colorful coat with fur around the hood. There's some insinuation that.
Yeah, so when I looked at that picture, wait, where is that at? Let me pull that up since she talking about it. I was able to screenshot, but I don't think I put it in here. When she walks towards the blur mark, you could see the hoodie on her back. I mean, not hoodie, the backpack on her back, and it looks more like a hood from the back. So it's just really bad distorted to me, but it's still something going on with that. The pickup locations and all that stuff is still off. Still off. Let me. Where is it at? So that's her walking across the street. And so we was questioning, and you see how she appears there and then she disappear and then reappear on the sidewalk. That could have been a cut to not show that she went home and then came back. But also, she has said that she was going to meet him there at 3. Now, Shannon said that I heard the school say she get on the bus at 2:40. And I think she's home like before 3. Because I remember they said she would be walking in the door at 3:05. But we really can't believe much they say. We know that it was around 3. I definitely believe that she walked to meet them at the corner somewhere in this area, and it might have been on Bedford and what's her name, but I'm not sure. That's the only thing that makes sense. So we had also seen her walking towards the car. Let me see.
It's still covered up. So that time is, and I don't have my glasses, it is January 9th, 2024. I believe it's 14:54 and some seconds.
And 14:54 would be around
2:54 p.m. It's still covered up. So that time is.
Now, when we first started this video, the guy that was speaking said it said 2:56. But either way, it was right. It was before 3 o'clock, and she was supposed to meet him somewhere at 3. So it definitely couldn't have been all the way on the other side of town, you know. And when I'm feeling like the timeline is off because of the testimony of the Cordell's child's auntie. Let me see what's happening. Did somebody just try to call me? Let me see. If you do call, you definitely want to say your name. But I don't know. Did somebody put out the call-in number? Shout out to the Rooks. Welcome in. Shout out to my moderators in the building. Yeah, because I didn't. Maybe it's just a random person calling. I don't know. Let's just hit play.
Somehow there was a plan that she would meet up with Mr. Butts. But the testimony of Mr. Wright was that they were driving around that afternoon, back and forth to various auto parts stores. And I believe that they, in fact, had to go back to one kind of unplanned because they either missed something or there was an issue. And so to say that somehow Mr. Butts would have known that she would have been on that street at that specific time and that they would have been there at that specific time is quite a leap, considering they didn't know where they were going to be when, because they were doing all this driving around back and forth to various stores.
Except for that text message that said we was gonna meet at 3. You know what I'm saying? And so with that being said, if she get off the bus right before 3 and she's planning on meeting him at 3, obviously it got to be right there, very close to her bus stop. And the fact that she asked for a location, that makes me feel like he might have said, start walking towards this area or whatever. And they could have picked her up like on the corner somewhere, you know, because they did say, according to this map, walking from the area where she's dropped off at, that is going into the direction of Harper. And she got to walk past Warren. Yeah, East Warren, and then past that, from my understanding, is Harper. According to this guy's testimony, let me see.
The person walking down Bedford would be going towards the north.
Yes, ma'am. Towards East
Harper,
Warren.
Or is it Warren or is it Harper?
That's Warren.
Warren. Okay.
Well, Warren, then Harper. That's all going in that direction.
Okay. The person walking down.
See, so she had to be right there in the area. But see, when he said Harper Avenue and Angelo's liquor store, then that put us in Harper Woods, right by the Park Crest Motel. That's what dude said. Cordell said that they picked her up on Harper. I think he said around Harper. He did. And he said, we pulled into the Angelo's liquor store. Angelo's liquor store is in Harper Woods. Like, I couldn't find a Angelo's or Angels. He said Angels, actually. So when I typed in Angels liquor store, see, it would be an hour and 18-minute walk to get to here. Angelo's liquor store is by the Park Crest Hotel, though. You see what I'm saying? So it's a 9-minute drive, but it's an hour and some walk. And that is 20,000 Harper, that street that the hotel is on. So that means something. And then let me see. Where's Cordell? Let's go to him.
Got there maybe around 9 o'clock. I assessed the Jaguar. Jarvis left a moment.
You guys finished the Jaguar and had to leave?
Probably around 7:30 or somewhere around there. Got there maybe around 9 o'clock. I assessed.
So if the Jaguar got there at 9 o'clock in the morning, did it really take him to 7:30 to complete this job? No, because that wouldn't put him in Ypsilanti at the right time. The reason why I question the Ypsilanti, okay, so let's play what he just said again.
Got there maybe around 9 o'clock. I assessed the Jaguar. Jarvis left a moment.
You guys finished the Jaguar and prepare to leave?
Probably around 7:30 or somewhere around there.
How did he finish the Jaguar that late at 7:30 p.m.? The Jaguar got picked up at 9 a.m. And he's saying that they was done by 7:30 p.m. And they was putting on a water pump, I do believe. I did look it up. It could take anywhere from 2 to 3 hours, but if you don't know what you're doing, it could take longer. And he didn't. I mean, he Googled to find out how to fix this water pump. He had somebody that was supposed to be working with him, or some guy that was supposed to, I believe, do the work with him, and he ended up not coming for whatever reason. He ended up Googling it and finding out how to do it. But what I'm saying is this timeline don't line up with what the sister, his kid's auntie said. Because let's hear what she said.
They sat there, we talked about the car and stuff. We talked about my nephew. Cordell was trying to wait till my nephew got out of school, but because he was on tether, they had to leave.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop it right there. He's waiting for his kid to get out of school. How late do kids be in school nowadays? Even if he went to an after school program, he probably wouldn't have still been in school after 7:30. And not okay. So this man said 7:30. It take 30 to 45 minutes to get to Ypsilanti. Then once they got there, they was there for like an hour. That would have made him late for his tether. So they timeline don't add up. They're lying about the time. Let me know what y'all think about that, because I mean, it ain't adding up. There's no way you can get to Ypsilanti and back. Like, no, it's not possible. And he said they made it back. Remember, they said that he said that they made it back 8:45, just in time for him to get back with the tether thing. The sister, or his son's auntie, she even said that it was still light outside when they left. We know that right now at 7:30 it's dark outside, so it would have been dark before they even got there. So I'm trying to figure this one out. Oh, I don't trust anything that he was saying on the stand. Yeah, I mean, but that's what they going by. They making their arguments based off of that. So I'm following the evidence to see how much sense it make. Because we know that they are lying. I mean, I didn't know that Cordell was lying until I listened again. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on. I heard the auntie say this. So I'm just saying, because this is new information that I just discovered. Because let's listen to all of them. Shout out to my BFF for being a member for 7 months. BFF, I'm so proud of you. You keep up the good work. Let's go. Let's go for sure. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Welcome to the winning team. Buckle up, baby.
6.
Let's go. Get that thumbs up, y'all. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. Shout out to my BFF. Yes. Please, 154. Please smack the thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. But what do y'all think? I'm telling y'all, this right here changes everything. Like, okay, so who let's go back through this right quick. Because this is the reason why I came live. Because I'm like, hold on now. Wait a minute. So let's start with this guy.
The person walking down Bedford would be going towards the north.
Yes, ma'am. Towards East
Harper?
Warren.
Or is it Warren or is it Harper?
That's Warren.
Warren, okay.
Well, Warren, then Harper, that's all going in that direction.
Okay. the person walking down.
Got there maybe around 9 o'clock. I assessed the Jaguar. Jarvis left a moment.
You guys finished the Jaguar
And if you notice, he said that Jarvis left at the moment. So I heard him say that he got to the shop about 8:30, 8:45. He always late. The Jaguar got there about 9. He assessed it, and they was done at 7:30. Ain't that what he said? Let's hear it again.
Got there maybe around 9 o'clock. I assessed the Jaguar. Jarvis left a moment.
You guys finished the Jaguar and here to leave?
Probably around 7:30 or somewhere around there. Got there.
They sat there, we talked about the car and stuff. We talked about my nephew. Cordell was trying to wait till my nephew got out of school, but because he was on tether, they had to leave. So they didn't get to stay long enough for my nephew to come.
So after about an hour, they left.
Correct.
Was it light or dark?
It was still fairly light. They sat there, we talked about the car and stuff. We talked.
How is it still fairly light? That will put them at 8:30. No, it will put them at after. No, as a matter of fact, okay, they 7:30. It take 30 to 45 minutes to get to Ypsilanti. That's dang near an hour right there. Like, come on, there's no way. There's no way he would have made it in time unless he got his timing off. So it's something off about that time. And it still was daylight? No, it wasn't. It couldn't have been. It could not have been. King is Cordell. I don't know why he's called King. Probably his nickname since he was a kid, you know. It's really a dog name. It's really a pet name that black folks like to use. Like, I didn't hear people calling everybody King until not when he was born. So I don't know. Let's keep hearing this.
Witnesses put Keziah at Mr. Butt's auto shop later that afternoon, and then in Ypsilanti with Mr. Butts and Cordell Wright, and Mr. Wright puts her back at the shop later that evening. But then we hear from Sergeant O'Rourke, who did all the cell phone mapping, that at 9 p.m., Mr. Butts was actually at 13662 Wilshire, which is his home.
See? Hold on now. I didn't know that he was at his. See, now that's some more BS that I did not know that one. At 9, okay, according to Cordell, he said that they got back to the shop. I think about 8:45. They went back to split the money, and he left. And he said they asked him if he's seen them leave, and he said no. Like they were still at the shop when he left. Now she telling us that he was at the house. Like what? That ain't helping him. And that don't mean nothing but his. You know why it said that? As a matter of fact, I just thought about it, y'all. It's because he put his phone in that woman's car. Or nah. Well, yeah, he could have put his phone in her car. I don't know. Let's keep listening.
Angel Leonard lives and where they have kids. So as I go back, where he would later, before he was going to kill them, that were there. They searched it. They took DNA. They took clippings of various things. Mr. Butts would have known that she would have been on that street at that specific time, and that they would have been there at that specific time. It's quite a leap, considering they didn't know where they were going to be when, because they were doing all this driving around back and forth to various stores. Witnesses put Keziah at Mr. Butts' auto shop later that afternoon, and then in Ypsilanti with Mr. Butts and Cordell Wright, and Mr. Wright puts her back at the shop later that evening. But then we hear from Sergeant O'Rourke, who did all the cell phone mapping, that at 9 p.m., Mr. Butts was actually at 13662 Wilshire, which is his home, where Angel Leonard lives and where they have kids. So as I go back with him to that house?
Good question.
And then at 9:30 is when he checks in to the Park Crest Motel.
So I didn't know this piece of information, that he went back to a location So, I mean, what did he do? Maybe she was in the car waiting on him. Is this when he came and got somebody's car? Or I don't know. Did he leave her up at the shop? Did he do something to her at the shop and then transport her, went back and got her? I don't know. He can't drive 2 cars, though. Let's keep going. I have no idea.
Now, we don't know who was with him there, but there is no evidence that ZIYAH was ever there. They searched it. They took DNA. They took clippings of various things. They swabbed the shower drain, and there's no evidence that she was ever in that room.
They swabbed the shower drains months and months later.
It's still covered up. So that time is, and I don't have my glasses, it is...
Okay, let me... And that Wilshire address is the address that he used for the hotel receipt. Whose address is that? I remember it being one of the women's address. Do y'all remember? They switched cars at that point. So he left his car around the corner. Wait a minute, who lived on that street? It's not the person whose car he had. Ain't that the fiance? Alleged fiance? I remember somebody saying Wilshire. I'm gonna have to investigate that part. No amount of money ever defend a monster like this guy. I don't know how these lawyers do it. I know I wouldn't be able to sleep. I know, right? So it's the fiance's address. Okay. Thank you, Kiki. Okay, so that's, man, and he literally using this woman's address, and he go there at night and leave before the sun come up. 9 at night. So he was right on time for her house then. Remember she said in court that he can't, or did she mean that day? She said he comes at 9 at night and he leave at 2 in the morning. I mean, that was like when she was asking him how often he visit, or if he stay there, or how long is he there when he come or something. So, and just so happened he was right on time at 9 o'clock. So how many times? I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into this because he didn't have her car. He had it's a different baby mama. Is it one that we don't know about? He has so many women that I can't remember who is who. The only ones that I know, I mean, I don't know, but Latrice Johnson, and then the other girl, the woman, I don't know her name. I forgot her name. Sorry, Miss V, I'm working, so my messages was missing words. It's okay. I figured that as I was reading, I'm like, she probably driving or working or doing something else. Okay, let me hit play.
We did hear testimony that the Park Rest is a known place where Mr. Butts frequents and takes various lady friends for a rendezvous. It's much more possible and plausible that he took one of his lady friends there, than somebody who he was going to kill, right? He's going to a place where they know him. He's a frequent flyer there. And is he going to take somebody there where he would later...
I mean, it's easy to get somebody in a hotel. You go pay, and then you leave them in the car, and then you go around to the side door or something, and you let them in, and the people in the hotel may or may not know what's going on, or it might just be a sketchy hotel like that, and they don't hear or see no evil because everybody is sketchy in there. Just like that dang on store. That store is sketchy as heck.
Before he was going to kill them, that makes no sense. That is not logical.
Nothing makes sense. Now, we can't go off of what makes sense, ma'am, because nothing this dude do makes sense. Does.
We heard then that after Mr. Butts left the Park Rest Motel, he went to 4 Alexandria, which is Midtown, so kind of across town. And that's where his other girlfriend, Najeen Rushing, lives. So did he take...
So from Park Crest to another woman's house. Like, he's such a loser, y'all. This dude has nothing. And I seen somebody trying to spin a narrative like, oh, this guy, he I forgot who it was, but they was like he owned his own shop and he was taking care of them women. They probably just, they was doing whatever because he was taking care of them. Man, he ain't taking care of nothing. Not only even his kids, he can't even take care of himself because he has nothing and he uses everybody that's around him. As a matter of fact, if he ain't benefiting from you, he ain't gonna deal with you. He is a loser who has nothing, not even good looks. And I heard he got a yuck mouth. And I already seen his tongue, and them teeth. Like, boy, you need to keep your mouth closed at all times.
You take Naziah with him there to see Miss Rushing. And he stays there for a while, I think, according to Sergeant O'Rourke's mapping.
This dude wasn't doing nothing but creating an alibi. Like, I mean, if he had a room, then, he could have easily put her in that room and had her, just in there doing all this stuff so he could say he got an alibi. I was doing this and doing that and trying to cause confusion. While he's on top of that, he's dropping her stuff off everywhere. Like, how did all her ID get all across town and all this stuff? They really did all of the stuff to cause confusion, and it really worked. I mean, because she will have to be buried somewhere. Like, bodies turn up, bodies smell like either the water or buried. It's only those two things that I'm thinking. Even if it was in parts. Now, Shanquilla, I see her face. The girl that went on the first date on April Fool's Day. I cannot believe Sade Robinson. God. They still ain't found her head. They found every part of her except for her head. He put her in that water. I mean, your body can go far, I would think, or buried. Like I told y'all, well, I mentioned a case that I was covering, and Desiree Thompson had been missing for 10 years, 10 years, and they found her finally buried. Nobody would have ever found her if somebody wouldn't have told. They would have never found her. But once they did, and they were able to go into the house that she was buried into, that backyard, and a new couple had bought that house, and they had to tear everything up. They ripped everything, the floor and all that, and blood and everything still there. This dude even had the machete on display. Sick people, man.
And then we hear that he is at 7 Mile.
I mean, anywhere else is not gonna be out in the open and nobody smelling it. It would have to be somewhere far, like in the wilderness, somewhere that somebody don't smell the body. You know what I'm saying? And then after a while, it goes away when it's just bones and stuff. But I'm assuming. But somebody gonna run across it if it's in a path or anything. Either that's another thing. She could be somewhere where people just don't go or walk the area. But man, what the hell? Let's keep going.
On January the 10th at 11:40 p.m. for over an hour. That's almost 24 hours from when he initially, it's beyond 24 hours from when he initially is with Naziah, or when he's last with Naziah. And so it's illogical to think that he was driving around with Naziah, visiting all of his girlfriends, or if he had done something.
Man, you seen all his girlfriends. Like, they ain't asking that man no questions. Like, what are we talking about here? He can do whatever he want to do with the women he had. That's why he had those women. They ain't asking no questions. I mean, but old girl was putting his phone up to his face trying to get into the phone because she knew he was up to something. but she still didn't question it enough. Remember, she was like, well, I knew that he was hiding stuff because I would see him park around the corner, and leave in the car type of thing. Did you say anything to him, or is he just now finding this out on the stand? Sad.
Something to her previously that she was in the car with him while he did that. And in fact, they took a cadaver dog around the car and didn't find anything. And they tested the vehicles, all of his vehicles, every car that he drove, for DNA, for any sign that ZIYAH had been in there, and they found nothing.
Well, hell, did he take her to the hotel and they did something to her? Because he checked. The hotel was the first stop. I'm going to guess that ZIYAH was at that room waiting on him. I mean, or unalived already. I don't know. It don't take long. It don't take long. He had plenty of time. He definitely had plenty of time. I'm not believing the timeline. I'm not believing that they left the shop at 7:30 because of what the auntie said, that it was still light outside and he was waiting on his son to get back from school. So you know what just with that part, it made me think, because we know that ZIYAH also needed to be picked up at 3:00. And he said that they went to AutoZone and they went back and they ran into her den. I'm thinking that they was done with the car at 3. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking they was done with the car at 3. And that's when they start. But I'm going off of the evidence though, and I'm kind of like, I don't believe what he's saying, man. So whenever they bumped into ZIYAH, I think they was already done. And things is just all the way off because they only going off of testimony and they didn't have no video. I was looking at the evidence and it said that it was a video. It was one video. They said video. They didn't say videos. And the only video we got is this ring camera footage that they collected. I want to say sometime in March, this footage right here, which right here, it does also look like where you see her walking and then it just skip and then bam, she right there. Right there, we really do believe that she walked back home. Maybe that's how she changed her clothes and all of this kind of stuff, because the clothes do look different. I mean, but explain the blur marks. It's a reason why they blurred the stuff out, right? So like I said, if it wasn't her going home, something happened. But you know something else I noticed, I heard in that testimony is that the Jaguar was red. And I remember seeing a red vehicle besides that one. I'm going to have to look at that again. But I'm thinking, see, you can clearly see her walking right there, and then it skips. Bam, and put it right on the sidewalk. And it's blurred. Something is up. But yeah, I definitely believe she was picked up from that area. Let me pull up the other one, where I think it's another one where you can see her walking to the blur mark. I wasn't paying attention, but let me play that.
It's still covered up. So that time is...
Right. Oh, that's the one with her getting off the school bus. Did I not put it in here? Oh, yeah. You see her. Okay, and then she's going to walk into the blur mark. Y'all see how that skipped? That's a blur mark right there. What's she doing right there? Something is happening. And then you can see her pop out on the one that the guy was talking in. Right here. So in this one, she just kind of just gets stuck in a blur mark. I must let it go again. She gonna jump all the way there. What I took a screenshot right there when she jumped, and you can see the backpack on her back, and it also looks more like a hood once she passed that. But it's just like so distorted looking. Okay, I'm gonna let her jump one more time. She disappears into that blur mark. But on this part, if you look
It's
closely,
still covered up. So that time is, and I don't have my glasses, it is.
if you look closely, you'll see her pop out of the blur mark like towards the end of this video that I'm playing.
It's still covered up. So that time is, and I don't have my glasses, it is January 9th, 2024. I believe it's 14:54 and some seconds.
And 14:54
It's
would be
14:56.
around
2:54 p.m. It's still covered up.
Maybe
so
I
that
covered
time
it.
is, and I don't have
There
my
it is. You
glasses,
see it right there.
is,
Right when he
January
said,
9th, 2020.
right when he said it's still covered, you can see her walk out of the blur mark. So I was like, I don't know if she went back into the blur mark. So I'm like, at first, when I seen her go into the blur mark, I was like, well, that's where she got picked up at. But then I seen her bounce back out. So anyway, possibility she could have just got picked up straight from there or something. Something happened. So, but these timelines ain't adding up at all. Good point. What happened? It's raining. The blur might be from water on the camera. I know those are purposely put blur marks. I can tell because I edit videos. That is a blur mark that you put from editing. I mean, if you look at the video, you can tell that it was done purposely. Let me show it again. They put those there purposely to cover up something.
It's still covered up. So that time is, and I don't have my glasses, it is January 9th, 2024. I believe it's 14:54 and some seconds.
And 14:54.
That's why it's edited at those blur marks.
2:54 p.m. It's still covered up. So that time is, and I don't have my glasses, it is
it's edited right at the blur mark.
2024.
Let's do it again. See, it's something they don't want us to see there, you know. Because it, like I said, it's edited in the blur marks. Now the one in the middle, I mean, that could maybe be that because I don't see nothing that they would be blocking. But right there, she walked into it. So they blocked that on purpose. They don't want us to see what she walking to. Because if you look closely also, the blur mark is not there the whole time. It's not there until it need to be there. And like if you look at the original video, you would be able to see that. But I've edited myself. I didn't change nothing though, but I'm just saying I took out like dead stuff that I wasn't looking at. And see how you can see her pop out of there? And at first, when I seen that, I was like, is that where she dropped her ID? Because her ID was found, but even though, no, it wasn't, but her ID was found like on the street like that. And I was like, either when I first seen it, I was like, maybe she got in a car and dropped her ID there. And, but no, I think that somebody was riding down these streets and they was just throwing stuff. They were just throwing stuff, just getting rid of stuff as they ride by. They did because I saw one that was vivid. You're right. Yeah. Oh, wait, you saw a blur mark that was vivid? What you see that was vivid? Oh, okay. Let's see. I don't know. Is even her? I know. That's what I said. That's what I said. But because they showing it in court, I was saying that before. I'm like, that is not her. That's not her. But they showing it in court. It gotta be her. I mean, you're not supposed to. You can't show stuff that ain't legit in court. So that's why I'm trying to figure it out. And then, like when I screenshot it, it did look like a hood, and of course I didn't even put that one in here and don't know where it's at. Maybe I'll put it in there the next time I go live, but I really just wanted to get y'all opinion on that. Do y'all think shoot, I mean, I can't create another timeline, but the timeline that they told us is off. Let me look at my screenshots because I had I had it in here. How long does it take to fix a water pump on a Jaguar? And I mean, I don't know what kind of car it was exactly, but I just wanted to get a roundabout time frame that it would take. And let's see. I knew I had to take it out because I was preparing for another live stream, but I had it up here for y'all to see. But here it is. It says replacing a water pump on a Jaguar can take anywhere from a few hours to a full day, depending on the specific model and accessibility of the water pump, with most mechanics estimating it to be about 2 or 3 hours. However, some Jaguar models may require more complex disassembly. And then it goes on to say replacing a water pump on a Jaguar can take anywhere from a few hours to a full day, depending on a specific model and accessibility of water pump, which most mechanics, okay, I read that. So the key points to consider: access. The location of the water pump on a Jaguar can vary, with some models requiring more extensive removal or surrounding components to access it, adding time to the repair. Mechanic skills. So how good of a mechanic are you? It says a skilled mechanic with experience working on Jaguars can likely complete the job faster than someone less familiar. And we know that King wasn't familiar because he Googled it. So, but still, I don't know, man. Now, he said they went to the store. It came in at 9. Dude left for a minute. Where was he at, I wonder? Okay, and then it says associated repairs. It says often when replacing a water pump, mechanics also recommend changing the timing belt, which can add additional time to the repair. Now, they ain't said nothing about no timing belt. So, but yeah. Yep, I've owned a Jaguar too, and that was a quick. I've owned it. Oh, that was too quick. Okay, so you think it would take longer? So I mean, he said the Jaguar got there at 9 a.m. and they left at 7:30 to head to Ypsilanti, and it take 30 to 45 minutes. So that would put them at 8:15. He said the sister said, the auntie said they was there for an hour. That would put them at 9:15. This is not right. It ain't right. They lying about that timeline, and a timeline is the most important thing.
Got there maybe around 9 o'clock. I assessed the Jaguar. Jarvis left a moment.
You guys finished the Jaguar and prepare to leave?
Probably around 7:30 or somewhere around there.
They sat there, we talked about the car and stuff. We talked about my nephew. Cordell was trying to wait till my nephew got out of school, but because he was on tether, they had to leave, so they didn't get to stay long enough for my nephew to come.
So after about an hour, they left.
Correct.
Was it light or dark?
It was still fairly light. They sat there, we talked about the car and stuff. We talked about my nephew.
That's why I don't believe a timeline. Period. Why we talking about school at 7:30 at night? Why we talking about it's light outside at 7:30 at 8:30? No, later than that. Because if he didn't leave the shop to 7:30, that would be it ain't adding up, man. It ain't adding up. It is not adding up. So everything is flipped. Everything is off. Yep, they had to. That they actually did, because we know they did. They left the shop, and that's why King said they went back to the shop. But remember, we was trying to, like, my last live stream, I was like, why did both of them need to go to the shop? They didn't. they was done with that car by the time they picked up ZIYAH. That's what I believe. So from 9 to 3, they probably worked on the car, right? That would give them a full day, like what, 8 hours or something like that. I mean, yeah, that sound about right. They left that shop at 3, went and got ZIYAH, and what they did in between that, I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, they was at the shop because Jarvis' sister was up there too, right? She came up there that day. So they was there, but it's still, the time is off. Yeah, here in Michigan, it be dark in the winter around 6. See? So you saying 6:30. Like, yes, that is true too. Yes, because with daylight saving time, it went even, yep, a whole hour earlier. So he lying. Like and then when telling a story, you wouldn't even mix school with that. You know, it's nighttime. Like, no. And then she said that he was like trying to hurry up because he didn't want to miss his tether. He would have definitely missed it if he left the shop at 7:30. Period. To take it out there. So that's what I wanted to talk about and see what y'all thought. But like I said, I can't create another timeline, but we just know that what they talking about is a damn lie. But of course, we already assumed that anyway. But really, I was just listening at their testimony. I wasn't thinking one way or the other. I'm just like listening at it, not thinking. I didn't have nothing to compare it to. But now, once I found out the location of where they possibly picked her up at. And what do y'all think about the teacher? Let me play that video before I get out of here. Not the teacher, the lunch lady. I did a video, but I'm gonna pull it up. ZIYAH Harris's lunch lady. Yeah, I'll pull this one up right quick. Please smack that thumbs up. But I gotta finish this though. We didn't even finish it.
And the call to Miss Johnson asking her to wipe down the Sentra that she used that he had borrowed is kind of irrelevant because she testified that she didn't do it. That she did nothing based on what he called to say, and they still didn't. Nothing was found.
Well, evidently he thought something would be found because he said it. Dang. Hold on. That wasn't supposed to happen. But yeah, evidently he expected something to have happened to tell her to wipe everything down. He didn't say that for nothing. I'm guessing. ZIYAH Harris's lunch lady.
Had been in there, and they found nothing. And the call to Miss Johnson asking her to wipe down the Sentra that she used that he had borrowed is kind of irrelevant because she testified that she didn't do it. That she did nothing based on what he called to say, and they still didn't. Nothing was found.
I know, that's crazy, TBZ.
We heard about a pink jumpsuit that was found. We didn't hear any testimony that anybody saw ZIYAH wearing this pink jumpsuit. She's not seen wearing it in any video. I don't believe that anybody even identified it as being hers. I don't believe there was any testimony from either Annette Harris or Shannon Harris stating, yes, we recognize that pink jumpsuit.
Shoot, they didn't figure out enough because they said wasn't nobody, they ain't looking to arrest nobody else, and people fighting for them to try to get the other folks that's involved too. I think that they did a lot of tricky stuff with these phones and stuff that they had. They definitely know something wasn't right. All them text messages and complaints and all that. Yeah, but they ain't got it all figured out. They got to prove them guilty or not. That's why we in court.
That ZIYAH wears. When did she have it? There was one blood stain on that jumpsuit. And the testimony from the forensic analyst, Rion Green, was that it was.
See, that's why, okay, those clothes could be plant clothes. Like, because where did the pink jumpsuit come in at? So the real clothes got all the issues, the real issues. Maybe they just did a little something. I don't know. I don't think they that smart, but something is up. What was he doing for 2 hours in that by that water? He had to been doing something. And if he cut himself or anything, shoot, by the time, what, the end of February or what? They didn't charge this man till September of 2024. I don't know when they first laid eyes on him. Well, when he was in court, sometime in February, but they, look, things could have healed.
It was such a small stain that she was afraid she would consume it if she did additional testing. She tested it once and couldn't do any follow-up testing or confirmatory testing because she was afraid they were going to consume the sample.
Yeah, so it ain't
There's
adding
also
up.
no statistically significant support for finding Mr. Butt's DNA on that stain sample from the pink jumpsuit. And there was no statistically significant probability that his DNA was on the jumpsuit at all, that he had had any contact with the jumpsuit. And they took a lot of swabs of that jumpsuit. I believe the number was,
but you know
forensic analyst Anderson testified to, that it was 24 trillion times more likely to have originated from two unrelated unknown contributors than Jarvis Butts. We heard about the black hoodie, and that black hoodie was significantly more weathered than the pink jumpsuit. We heard about that from the Border Patrol agent Barnes and other folks that came into contact with that sweatshirt, that it looked like it had been out in the weather much longer. And we don't have an explanation for that, but those appear to be tears in the top of the hood. They don't appear to be stab wounds, and they certainly don't appear to be bullet holes. There's weak support for conclusion that Mr. Butts was a contributor to the stain on the swabs of the black hoodie. The only real support for any DNA on the black hoodie was on the non-stained part. And there's testimony that Ms. Harris was wearing that hoodie on the 9th, that she was in Mr. Butts' Escalade when he and Mr. Wright picked her up after seeing her walking down Harbor, that they were in the car driving up to Ypsilanti. And
well, hell, if that's, why did he say that he hadn't seen her then since the end of December, the beginning of January? He lied about that. That counts.
And so the possibility that his DNA got on this non-stained part of the black hoodie is not evidence of premeditated murder in the context of all the ways that we heard somebody's DNA can get on a piece of clothing.
It's premeditated because he was looking it up and then she disappeared. How to get rid of, yeah. So, and then she disappeared. That would be premeditated if it was in December some damn time, and this happened January 9th.
And I kind of talked about this, but we heard testimony that Mr. Butts drove both a Cadillac Escalade and a Nissan Sentra on January 9th and January 10th. There's a lot of pieces of those cars that were tested. Trunk carpet from various areas in both cars, the driver's floor mat, the driver's seat, the door handle, trunk speakers, the trunk frame. All of those things were swabbed for blood and nothing was found. We heard about a school ID card that belonged to ZIYAH. We heard Valerie Smith testify that she noticed it at some point in February, maybe a month or so after ZIYAH was last seen, and that she decided to pick it up 2.5 weeks after she first spotted it. But she was pretty clear that she only noticed it about 2.5 or about 2 weeks before, but that she looked at it every single day. Seemingly, if it had been there before then, she would have noticed it. When did it get there? We don't know. There was no evidence. There's no testimony as to that. And there was no other evidence found in the 7 Mile and Greenfield area, and there's no evidence that Mr. Butts was there. We talked a little bit about the medical records, but All they tell us is that ZIYAH Harris didn't have a life-threatening condition as of October 24th. Don't tell us anything about her physical condition between the 24th and the 9th, and they don't tell us that she was pregnant. They're just not relevant, except for the fact, I guess, that they don't tell us that she was pregnant, and she was there on September the 27th, according to her text messages.
He did it. Period. Figure out how y'all gonna figure it
in
out.
the last 3 to 4 days is anything about a murder weapon. We've heard that they collected guns, but we don't know if any of them actually operated, and they tested them for DNA, and there was nothing found. When did those guns get taken from a house?
I mean, how many other bodies have this dude hidden? I mean, he real good at hiding bodies, I see. Like, so they need to be investigating some more missing people that might have been connected to Jarvis since he's so good at hiding.
When did they get put back, if any of them had been used? And I mean, we just simply don't have any evidence as to whether they were even touched by Mr. Buds. But certainly there was no DNA from Mr. Harris on them. And if one was to use a gun to bludgeon somebody enough where they break the skin and bleed, there's going to be DNA on that gun. If somebody is shot at close range by a gun, there's likely to be DNA on that gun. They found no DNA on a gun. There was initially testimony about all these knives that were found. And then when Mr. Riggins did a little bit of digging, well, one of them was a butter knife. One of them was rusted and under a seat and looked like he'd been there forever. There's only one knife that they were actually interested in. They sent it for testing and there was nothing on it. And we know that they can test for blood even if something has been wiped clean, because they do that, and in fact they did that in this case.
Okay, well, hell, maybe she got a point. Where is she then? Is she somewhere? Like, I can't wait to see what evidence they got to say that she is unalive. I mean, she do have a point there, because I was teetering on that too. Like, I mean, because of the phone, I'm like, it ain't enough. To me, it ain't enough evidence to say, you know, but I mean, for the courts, I guess it is. But to me, that ain't enough. Like, if man, I would want to know, like, she could be somewhere. Like I said, what pred wants to get rid of a child? You know what I'm saying? They don't want to do that. So I don't know, man. My mind has gone. I don't like to say too much wild stuff, but I mean, I brought up the story where there are females that actually, and I ain't saying the ZIYAH period, it just made me think of this, that there are females in this world that have babies for these type of people. And I talked about a story. I need to look it up, but I talked about it. I mentioned it because I seen it a long time ago. And the woman said that she, you know, is like a alien or something inside. They can't stand the nothing about the pregnancy thing. And then this guy posed as the father of the child when she had the baby, just for her to hand the child over to these type of people. They doing that. What if she in the floor at the auto shop, did they even search it? I would think they did, man. It's got to be. It's something. Like, did this dude have access to concrete or anything like that? I know somebody that dug a grave and poured cement in it on top of him. And this guy, he didn't kick his way out of it, but the guy passed away, but his foot was sticking out. And dogs was barking and everything else, so the dude got caught. So, yeah, something like he did something heinous. Like, what did he do? And this dude, like, so the fact that he put I think, to be honest, y'all, he could have had all these places that he went. He could have had his devices at some of these places. But no, they going by his device. So he had a device with him. So he wasn't that smart, hell, because if he was smart, he wouldn't have took a phone with him, period. That's the only reason why they can track his stuff right now. If he would have put that phone somewhere, we wouldn't even be right here. Okay, let me hit play.
They found no blood on anything that the prosecution is positing could have been a murder weapon. Motive is not an element of premeditated homicide.
Okay.
There's evidence that Mr. Butts and ZIYAH had a sexual relationship. And we are, at this point, not contesting the bind over on those.
Yeah, you can't. You absolutely cannot. So, let me see. But yeah, the hotels definitely is like, I thought about that too. I'm like, I mean, first of all, I was thinking it was a travel inn. That seemed like a crappier one, but this Park Crest ain't no better, I'm guessing, right? So scummy people hang out at these places and probably work at these places, probably own these places, and they know people worse than them. You know, I would assume that all of this stuff has been checked and stuff to make sure that that's not a possibility, but bodies turn up, y'all. They do. They turn up. So what's up? They smell like people. Yeah, they make themselves known. Either buried or in the water, or the other thing, which I don't like to say. You know, I'm trying to go with the evidence, but this woman is making valid sense. It's a lot of stuff that don't add up if that's the case, if she unalive. But anyway, let's keep playing it. I'm just all over the place with that. My thoughts.
That would explain why Mr. Butts would not want to be honest about why he was with Messiah Harris. That would be enough to make somebody want to lie about their whereabouts or connection to somebody.
Whatever. Girl.
There's no evidence that it went any further than that from him. No evidence that he had been confronted by anybody about a sexual assault. No evidence that he was being threatened by ZIYAH to expose him or get him in trouble if he didn't do something that.
Do Vari count? Because Vari said that he was trying to get his sister about the car, and he jumped out the car all in his face, ready to fight. So that was one complaint, but of course he was a kid and got shut down.
Wanted to do. By the time January 9th rolled around, they weren't really speaking that much. She was in those text messages that we heard, getting frustrated with him for ignoring her. But never once did she say, well, if you don't talk to me, I'm going to tell everybody what we've been doing. And so there's a complete lack of any motive for him to respond in that way.
How if she pregnant? Like that's all that he need. He already had past cases. He don't want to get caught doing the same thing he already did. 13 and 13. Oh, that's 13. He 13. She was 13. Her mama was 13. What else? Oh, Shannon 31. Latricia 31. I don't know how old the other lady is. This 1331. It must be the devil's number. Gotta be.
And I would point the court to a case. It's called People v. Fisher. And it's 193 Mishap 284. It's a 1992 case. Got copies. This court wants. And I point the court to this case because it's a case where homicide was charged and no body was found. A woman named Joyce Fisher was killed, and I believe it was 8 years after her death, her husband was charged. He was convicted, and ultimately the appellate court reversed the conviction because the evidence was insufficient.
Exactly,
Northern jury, and so that was the error. And kind of the facts briefly are that Mr. and Mrs. Fisher were in the process of divorcing. It was a pretty contentious relationship. There had been lots of reports that he had been physically abusive to her. And she had even testified that he had threatened to kill her in mid-January of 1978, approximately 3 months before she disappeared. In April of 1978.
Look, I gotta pay attention because she talking about something in 1978. Given, I guess we'll listen.
78. Apparently, they were out together. They had lunch. And he was the last person to see her. After that, she disappeared. Now, there was no substantial testimony in that trial regarding her reliability, her long or short-term plans, that she had, she had children, that she was devoted to them, and that she wouldn't have, essentially, that she wouldn't have any reason to run away or leave. And so that gave rise to an inference that she was deceased.
Where are you going with this, ma'am?
The prosecutor in that case offered no evidence of an act that resulted in Joyce Fisher's death. And the court previously has held that the victim's body, while it's not necessary to establish corpus delicti, there has to be something more. There has to be, in this case, either an admission or confession, physical evidence, or some kind of witness testimony. In that case, there was no physical evidence, such as bloodstains or a weapon linking the defendant to Joyce's death. He did not admit that he killed her, although the prosecutor offered equivocal statements there that he seemed to say, well, things didn't happen quite that way. And
where they find her at?
Where it made it sound like maybe he did have something or some knowledge.
I did see that she was found, but I didn't know that case was from that long ago. Where did they find her at? The missing body of the MS student that was missing was just found. Had been missing since 2024. He was declared unalive that trial. In a wooded area. So that's what I said. It could be somewhere where people don't walk, where you wouldn't smell it. You know what I'm saying? It gotta be somewhere deep in the woods, buried, or in the water. And I mean, it ain't no national parks in what's her name? I'm assuming, but somebody had walked over there by River Rogue. I think it's the river. That's what it's called, Rogue River. And they are from there. And they was like, I've never been over here. And I didn't even know that this was over here. And he said that he saw a bag down there too. That one guy that I had put up. Matter of fact, let me look at that. Let me let this play. She talking about another case. Let's just listen.
The prosecutor there presented lots of evidence of defendant's motive and opportunity to kill her, but noted that those were not elements of the crime. And inferences, the court says, may not be based on evidence that is uncertain or speculative.
Let's see. Let me think. Could he have done something to her before they even got back to the shop? Because the only they could have did something to her on their way to Ypsilanti. I mean, on their way back, type of thing. Because who seen her after they went to Ypsilanti? Nobody but them two. So maybe, yeah. And they said no evidence in the girlfriend's car, nothing like that. Well, she wasn't in the car. Hell, they could have pushed her out the car, made her run, put her in the woods and made her run. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are two grown men that was with this little girl. There's no telling. She was overpowered with one. Let me let it keep playing.
Or merely raises a conjecture or a possibility. And they said in that case, the evidence did not rise above the level of conjecture. And that's what we have here. We have conjecture. We have a lot of pieces of supposed evidence, but we have no connection. They don't connect to each other. They're puzzle pieces. When you put them together, there's no picture. There's no big picture because there is no act that can be testified to that Mr. Butts did, and there's nothing to support that act. There's no evidence that he had a gun and used it. There's no evidence that he had a knife and used it. In fact, the evidence that the prosecutor put forward disputes those theories. The idea that Mr. Butts was in some cover-up, the issue of his phone, I think was pretty well cleared up by Ms. Davis when she testified to the idea that for as long as she's known him, he's never wanted her to look at his phone. And mostly because he's been dealing with who knows how many other women. And that she had tried pretty much everything she could think of to get in that phone well before any of these allegations came about, and that she's never been able to. And so it makes sense that he would not want her to get in that phone, especially if he assumed he was coming home and wanted to have contact with her while he was serving his sentence in the Wayne County Jail. That she not know that she was not the only female he was dealing with. We acknowledge that probable cause is a low standard, but it isn't just limited to whether the prosecution has presented significant or sufficient evidence on each element of the offense, which we submit they have not. They also must determine that there's a reasonable ground of suspicion supported by circumstances sufficiently strong to warrant a cautious person to believe the accused is guilty. That definition of probable cause, or that characterization, comes from People v. Carter, which is 250 Mishap 510. And so you have to have both elements of the crime met, and also those elements have to be met by evidence that is sufficiently strong to believe that it is relevant, that it actually proves what it is saying that it proves. And here we have conjecture, we have speculation, we have supposition, and we have somebody who he did have something to hide. But there's no evidence that he did anything about that. He didn't threaten her, he didn't ask her, or say if anybody finds out that, I will go to jail, or you could go to jail, or you could be hurt. There was nothing like that in any of those conversations that we saw.
Yeah, his sister had came up there for him to look at her car or something, and that's when she seen ZIYAH getting in and out of the car going into the gas station. Mm-hmm. So that's what's so stupid. Like, everybody seen her, like, you up at a public place. And then another thing I was thinking, like, remember when Shannon was texting him and the first text she said was still no tutor? And I said they had to have had a conversation before that. So where was they at talking before that text? Because how did he know? Then she had asked him to take some flyers, and she asked him to post that she was missing on his page and all that stuff, but she wasn't concerned enough. And then she testified in court talking about she looked in the tablet and talking about, you ain't got to explain shit, I already see it. Like, that didn't even make sense. Like, what do you mean? You definitely got to explain something. Like, I don't know, man. These people weird. We can't think like criminals like them, I guess, or him, the people that's there. Everything is alleged, especially for the people that ain't locked up. But this is shady. And like I said, it ain't what you know, it's what you can prove. That's what it is. That's what court is all about, allegedly, because some people locked up that ain't do it. But
even by the relatively low standard of probable cause, we submit that there is insufficient evidence of both the idea that Mr. Butts did something to cause the death of Ms. Harris, and that he intended to kill her. Or that
they did definitely the antifreeze. We know that was something he looked up, the pill, and the judge said that he did it himself. He tried to do a home AB. He panicked and unalived her, basically.
We don't know what happened when she left his shop on January the 9th around 9 o'clock. But I think it's safe to say we know she didn't go to his house where Angel Leonard was. Or Angel Leonard would probably be here in court and telling us what a weird interaction she had with him and why it was strange that he wouldn't come inside the house, or why he wouldn't let her out by the car where he was.
Wait a minute, though. So the person the house that he was at didn't testify? I think everybody that he encountered that day should have been testifying, but let's listen.
We don't have any evidence that she came to the Park Crest Motel. We don't have any evidence that they were together beyond.
They don't have evidence that she went to the Park Crest Hotel because they don't have footage. The only footage they got is the one of her getting off that bus. That's it. And they got his signatures for checking in.
9 o'clock on January the 9th. And for that, we're asking the court to deny bind over on count 1, premeditated murder in the first degree.
Hell no.
Well, thank you. First, Judge, I'm going to start with talking about People v. Fisher that Ms. Quick just referenced. And it is important to note that this case is distinguishable for the following reasons. One, we're talking about a different standard. This was a trial issue, directed verdict standard, where the court is saying at trial beyond a reasonable doubt. First of all and foremost, it's distinguishable for that reason. Secondly, though, the court in Fisher said in this case, there was no physical evidence such as bloodstains or a weapon linking the defendant to
Welcome in,
Joyce's death.
Saint.
In this case, we have bloodstains. We have
Welcome to
bloodstains on the
Prosecution.
hoodie that was
Got a
found at 7
membership.
Mile and Bird, where the defendant spent 2 hours on the night of the 10th going into the 11th. That places them together in the same spot and is very strong evidence that ZIYAH Harris is in fact dead. Secondly, though, Judge, having dealt with People v. Fisher, Ms. Quick talked about
Like I said, I picture her in the middle, especially after finding out about allegedly what happened with the cousin from 6 to 12 dealing with Shannon. So we know that he been around her since she was 2. They said she spent a lot of time with Shannon. I believe it started early, especially if you messing with, the whole 4-year-old thing, they said.
9th and 10th that no one saw the defendant with ZIYAH for that day going into the 10th and into the 11th. However, we heard from one of his significant others or girlfriends that he was secret, that he didn't want anyone looking at his phone. And we certainly know that he knows how to keep different women and or girls away from each other. For example, I believe it was Shannon Harris that testified that she was familiar with an address of Outer Drive in Belfort, but she had no idea other than the fact that she would pick the defendant up there at different times. We know through other testimony that the defendant was dating someone that day. And with respect to Ms. Quick saying that ZIYAH never threatened him, never did anything, I'm not sure if this one text message was highlighted by what I see in this case when she testified, but on November 27th, 2023, at 23 hours and 37 minutes UTC time, ZIYAH said to the defendant, "When I see you, I'm a fuck you, tell you regret not answering my calls," which I would submit to this court is a threat. And then just over a month later, she says she goes missing at the hands of the defendant. And Ms. Quick also talked about the driving around that Cordell and Jarvis were doing and how it was an unplanned meetup with ZIYAH on the 9th. However, that may be true from Cordell's perspective, because he wouldn't have known what Jarvis's plan was at that time, but clearly on the 9th, send okay if you've seen the message so I can delete your number, and then the defendant's response, okay. And Jarvis was the one driving per Cordell's testimony. Now, Ms. Quick also talked about the knives and how the knives found in the defendant's car of the one that was tested came back negative, and that's true. We cannot dispute that. However, we know that.
So the woman that talked about the Jaguar is Cordell's child's auntie. And then the other lady is his sister. So this is one.
We talked about the car and stuff. We talked about my nephew. Cordell was trying to wait till my nephew got out of school, but because he was on tether, they had to leave. So they didn't get to stay long enough for my nephew to come.
So after about an hour, they left.
Correct.
Was it light or dark?
It was still fairly light. They sat there. We talked about the car.
Okay, and then the other one is his sister, which I don't have a video of her. So we heard
there maybe around 9 o'clock. I assessed the Jaguar. Jarvis left a moment.
You guys finished the Jaguar and prepared to leave?
Probably around 7:30 or somewhere around there.
Where did Jarvis go between 9 and 7:30?
That was more than a month after giving the defendant plenty of time to clean it. But beyond that, Judge, this case is one where the defendant thought to, and successfully did, hide the body. And it's a common sense inference that if he thought to hide the body, he would also think to get rid of the murder weapon at the same time.
Right.
And Judge, Ms. Quick is right. We are talking about a probable cause standard. And as I said, the question is, did the defendant with premeditation probably murder ZIYAH Harris? And I submit to this court that the answer is yes. And circumstantial evidence as is noted in the jury instructions at trial court or in circuit court, is just as good as direct evidence. And yes, this is a circumstantial case, but when we put those circumstances together, including the physical evidence, the cell phone evidence, which I would equate with physical evidence for purposes of that, as well as the defendant's opportunity and motive, the picture becomes very clear that the defendant, Jarvis Butts, took the life of ZIYAH Harris to protect himself from the eventual discovery of his child that he was going to have with her.
And the lady that spoke before him sounds stupid too. Well, she didn't say that she was gonna tell or anything like that. I mean, she 13 and pregnant. What that's enough reason. Plus, he already got that on his record. Like, it should be something. Like, you got that more than once on there. You need to just do life. You know what I'm saying? Like, get out. Probably should do it the first time because it ain't no healing behind that.
Or at the very least thought he was going to have.
Besides cutting it off.
I asked this court to bind over.
And even then, they'd probably use a dilly or a tongue.
As charged with the addition or increase in criminal sexual conduct second degree. Thank you.
These people are sick.
As far as picture, I agree with the people that this case is distinguishable. This is a case regarding a trial. And the one thing I had highlighted in the case is the quote, in this case, there was no physical evidence such as blood stains or a weapon leaking defendant to Joyce's death. In this case, we don't have the same facts and circumstances. I do agree, this is a circumstantial case and circumstantial evidence is sufficient for bind over and even conviction. Today is January 9th, 2025, exactly 1 year, from the day ZIYAH Harris disappeared. Before I get into the charges and the main charge of premeditated first degree murder, I have to speak on ZIYAH Harris and the community who failed her. I am only presented with certain evidence. I don't know the whole story. The attorneys know more than me, the family knows more than me. But from what I have heard over the last 4 days and 5 days total, is that several people failed her. I don't know where her mother is. I don't know anything other than that she was forced to live in a home where she was not protected or given adequate attention and love. I don't know where her father is. I don't have any mention of him in her life, no presence. To Cordell, AKA King, and all the men who saw Jarvis Butts hanging out and always around these young girls, including ZIYAH, and his 9-year-old daughter going up to the shop to clean up the shop. The school counselor who never showed up, or the person who was supposed to show up if that counselor was absent, after ZIYAH was on the floor on the day she went missing, saying that she needed to speak to a counselor. There's no mention of CPS, but I wonder what their involvement was over the years, because this was not just a 1 year thing. There are text messages at least in 2022.
Now, see, she just said, I wonder what their involvement was over the years. She only know what she hearing.
To her adoptive grandmother, Annette Harris, whose testimony, in my opinion, was very questionable. I understand why the people put her on the stand to establish ZIYAH's residence and the houses on Bedford and the regular routine, to establish also that ZIYAH was not a runaway child, that she was not a bad kid. I do believe she adopted ZIYAH. I do believe that she had 6 kids in the house. I believe that ZIYAH had on a dark hoodie the day she went missing, and that she had on red and black Nikes that day. What is hard to believe is that the defendant never came into the house as she testified. And there was also a minor that testified that he did as well. Text messages that show between him and ZIYAH that he did in the basement, saying he was going to the shower, stealing her panties. He was always lurking around that house and asking for ZIYAH and tonight, and what I know. I even thought about the breakfast routine, and saying that all the kids like eating breakfast at school. Did they have a choice? I don't know. But to always send those girls up there to clean up the shop raises questions. And how were there 2 women in that house who have birthed children themselves, who did not notice that ZIYAH was pregnant, and I believe she was, and not having her period anymore. But then after hearing text messages today, begging Jarvis for pads as if she didn't have anyone else to give them for her. And what stood out the most was when Annette Harris stood on the stand, and she learned around 6 p.m. that ZIYAH did not come home from school. Instead, she looked around for her and decided to wait until the next morning to call the police. Without a tear, without emotion, or any expression of being devastated. And to her Aunt Shannon, who also showed no emotion, expression of being devastated from ZIYAH going missing. She stated that she had friends help look for ZIYAH, but was directed to just wait until the morning to call the police. A grown woman who likely suspected something strange going on didn't feel the need to call the police either. They were both able to go to sleep at night without hearing from ZIYAH or having any indication that she was coming home at night. And of course, the defendant, who I will get to in a minute. I don't know who else failed ZIYAH, but the community did. As far as the people establishing probable cause, I will focus on count 1, as it's been stated that there is no contention with counts 2 and 3. In count 3, I will amend based off of the motion and testimony I heard that ZIYAH was 12 and not 13 at the time that Jarvis Butts had sexual intercourse with her. The prosecution is correct. You do not have to have a body to establish first-degree premeditated murder. It would have been a much shorter exam had her body been found, but this is where we are. In the last 365 days, no text messages. We all heard today and yesterday that she was very active and frequently texting. No social media for a year. We heard from testimony that she was also active on social media. No phone calls, which she was also able to do according to testimony. No physical sighting of her by anyone. She never came back to school. No one has seen her. Medical records dated from July 2014 to October 2023 indicated that she had no life-threatening medical issues that would lead to a natural cause of death. The black hoodie found in the area 7 miles of Berg with her DNA and blood on it. The holes in the hoodie consistent with some sort of struggle, violence, or weapon being used. And we know that there were no holes in that hoodie when she wore to school. We saw a picture of her in a black hoodie on her last day that everyone saw her. I do believe her grandma testified truthfully about the sweatshirt that she had on and that was practically new. And the border agent who said that no evidence of animals would have destroyed the clothing or the shoes to possibly lead to animals tearing up that hoodie. The clear glasses found in the blue Nissan the day after she went missing, the behavior of the defendant when he snatched those glasses. They looked exactly like the glasses she had on in her last picture, according to the witness. The shoes that her brother described as the same shoes that were found also in the area of 7 Mile and Berg, near the hoodie. While this is still probable cause, the evidence all points to Jarvis Butts. His locations, him being seen with her last, the abortion searches, the abrupt silence between the two of them in text messages, and the constant lies he told throughout the entire investigation. And they were proven to be lies with text messages and other testimony. We may never know what happened, but from what I heard today and over the last 4 or 5 days, it appears he intended to perform what he thought was a do-it-yourself abortion on ZIYAH and went south, and instead of seeking medical attention for her, he intentionally killed her and tried his best to cover it up. As much as I want her to be alive today, there is at least probable cause to show and believe that she is dead and that she was murdered by Jarvis Butts.
Lock his ass up! Lock his ass up! You're going to jail! You going to jail. Lock his ass.
You've been sitting over there 4 days with your head down, getting between and behind your attorney with your mask on and taking vigorous notes. I want you to pay attention, listen to everything I have to say. I have been trying to figure out for the last 5 days. At one point, I thought you were cognitively impaired in the beginning of this exam. And then maybe you had the brain of a 10-year-old, and that's why you were doing such things. But as I heard more and more testimony, you're just the true definition of a pedophile.
He's all of that.
Watching you laugh and brag about all the women you have with different women and the children and the girlfriends, and making babies to groom them, and having them in your presence, cleaning up your shop. And the little girls around you have landed you here today. You groomed ZIYAH. You played mind games with her. We all heard that. You controlled her emotionally. She was exposed to so much at such a young age. The text messages between you two were disgusting to hear.
They were.
And to think that she had you saved in her phone and banged for life. ZIYAH deserves so much more. And while I mentioned other people that failed her, Jarvis Butts, you are the monster in this whole picture. She did deserve love from her parents and everyone who was in her life. She was ignored, she was neglected, and you took complete advantage of that. She wanted someone to love her, and she would never know what that feels like. Your children deserve more.
Man.
As much as defense counsel has raised issues on count one, all that has done is raise the question of fact for the trier of fact, which means that this would be for a jury or a judge to hear it third circuit. I pray for the healing of all the victims and the young girls and possibly boys who have come into contact
Exactly.
as a community.
But
look at this case.
don't discriminate.
How much work we have to do when it comes to protecting our children and especially our Black girls. I pray for closure and healing for all those who have been traumatized by you. And for you, Jarvis Butts, I wish you a speedy trial and that justice be delivered.
Lock his ass up. Lock his ass up. You going to jail. You going to jail. Lock his ass up. Lock his ass up. You going to jail. You going to jail. Lock his ass up. Nanny boo boo.
Right there, tell us where she's at, please. Just do it.
Wow. What in the fuckity fuck?
yeah, he going down. He is definitely going down. So thank y'all for tuning in. I'm gonna look at the chat in a minute, but I wanted to look. Dang, this ain't what I'm trying to do. Hold on, pause that. I meant to go to the other video before that happened, but oh, is it on pause? Yeah, I think so. Please smack that thumbs up if you have not yet, and subscribe to the channel. Man, I'm not trying to let us play, man.
What 30-year-old Bass Webb has been...
I ain't trying to play that. What are we doing here? Oh, it's still there. Hold on. It kicked me out my queue, I thought. No, we not trying to... Okay, let's do that. All right, so what do y'all think about what y'all heard? I could put in a call-in number if y'all want to call and let me know what y'all think. But in the meantime, I'm going to play this video. This is the lunch lady that seen her that day too. And I want y'all to take, what do y'all think about what she had to say? Oh, I got it on mute. Every day at breakfast and lunch. ZIYAH Harris's lunch lady would see her every day at breakfast and lunch. And ZIYAH would give hugs. And ZIYAH just sounds like she had a lot of personality. Here's what the lunch lady had to say the last day, her last encounter with ZIYAH Harris.
Well, she was She was every day. She would give hugs and would come in, and she didn't look like herself. So I asked her what was wrong. She said nothing. So I'm thinking it's just a typical day of a child getting in trouble or something because they come to school, and that was the last time I saw her. And I've been really worried about it. I've been praying for her safety. So I don't know what's going on with the situation, but that's the last encounter I had with her.
Did you hear anything about a fight that allegedly happened between her and the girl where there was a note or whatnot?
No, I didn't hear anything about it because when they get out of school, I'm still in the back. So I don't know when they leave out that door, I actually don't know what they be doing. But I haven't heard anything about a fight. She could have had, but I haven't heard anything about it.
Right, but you said she was off that last day, though. She wasn't her normal self when you spoke to her. She wasn't.
No, she wasn't.
Now, did you ever hear anything about abuse in the house or nothing? She was just a normal girl to you, huh?
Yeah, she was just a normal girl to me every day because she would come and talk every day. So I've never noticed nothing about what was going on. Because she didn't seem like it.
She hid it well.
She would come in and play with the kids and interact, act with the kids and all that. And, she didn't act like there was nothing going on abuse in that house.
I got people in the comments wanting to know, did it appear that she looked pregnant the last time you seen her?
You know what? That's a good question because I really didn't notice her on that level because I really never paid attention to her like that. I will only see her when she get her breakfast, she go to class, and when she get her lunch. But I've never really paid attention to that. And that's the guy's honest truth. I never, because she looked like she was just a regular girl, came to school every day, so I couldn't tell. Unless she hid it, I don't know. But I never really noticed it.
And the face that you described, you said she had this look on her face. If you can describe it, what would the look? What would it look
like? An upset look. Just a weird upset look. But all I'm doing is just praying for her and would like hopefully that she come back because it's just been a long ride. No one's saying anything. No kids are saying anything or nothing. Nobody's speaking on it.
Now we heard. Now I say the reason
Welcome
I
in, Miss Patty.
Because we heard something. I don't know if it's another lunch lady or what, but we was hearing something about the lunch lady. We was hearing that the school kids were saying that she was allegedly going to run away because she was pregnant. Now again, I don't know if there's, if you're the only lunch lady there, or if it's, somebody else in the staff that they was mixing that up with, but that was something else to be heard coming from out of the nucleus of the school. So
I don't know. They may have. I don't know. They may have. Yeah, so I'm just praying for her. Hope she come back safely. Hope there's nothing wrong.
So, what do y'all think about the lunch lady so far? I mean, man, I don't know, like how they say they see her every day, pay attention to her, but don't see anything. Like she said, she had that look. It was a lot of and shout out to Mark DeAndre on 7 Mile Radio. This was an interview that he did. He called her, on his show last year. I forgot. I don't think I looked at the date, but it was last year sometime. And when he hung up, he was like, well, I mean, she was more talkative, she was more talkative when he had talked to her, and he just wanted to give her opportunity, but she didn't say a whole lot. And I don't know, when she's like, I don't know, they might have, I don't know, I was kind of like weird.
Anything with her because it's been, like I said, a long ride, and I love kids, so I worry about her because I have a daughter and a granddaughter of my own, a 37-year-old daughter and a 20-year-old granddaughter, so I totally understand. I've never had to experience that, but I never had to experience that, but
I'm his wife. Welcome in.
The family is feeling like.
Is there someone in the school that
shout out to the AFC podcast
that you may have, like an administrator, have seen? Maybe she's been comfortable with or anything like that.
Shout out to Jay of the AFC podcast. Thank you so much for sharing me out. I appreciate that. And check him out, y'all. He has a crime channel, but it's for kids. So I just want to make sure I let y'all know about my friend, the AFC podcast. If y'all like to check out crime like that, dealing with children, definitely subscribe to his channel. Let him know I sent you when you come over there.
The school is the school putting up any flyers or offering support to the students?
Well, I guess the kids probably see it because it's all over Facebook. So I'm not for sure about, if she was comfortable with them, talk to them. Because like I said, the only time I seen her really was at breakfast and lunch. And sometimes I see her walking up the hallway, but that was it. That's the only time I saw her. Now, as far as the classroom and anywhere else that goes on in there, I couldn't tell you. Say it with the teachers or anybody. Right.
As far as the memorial, I think now that it hasn't been one thus far, I think after the trial it will be like the closure for everybody. I think they should do it then. That's just my opinion, to just kind of give you that closure feeling, but it's no closure without a body though. Like, she can't even rest with, you know what I mean? Like, where is she? So heartbreaking, but at some point, yeah.
But yeah, but like I said, I'm praying for her.
It just seems so hard to believe that people that saw and hugged her every day, seen her face every day, missed everything. I mean, we could see from where we're sitting at, where we're looking at the pictures of her dancing and the visual of the last videos that she was taking. You could clearly see. Now, I could definitely give them that she probably seemed like a normal child just based off of the videos that we could see. She had the smile on her face. She was singing. You could clearly, if they even paid attention to her there, they would have noticed with the songs and things that she was singing. So we've heard from the substitute teacher who said ZIYAH laid on the floor and asked to talk to a counselor who never came up to talk to her. And now we have the lunch lady who says she hugged her every day and would see her every day for breakfast and lunch, but didn't notice anything. And shout out to Mark DeAndre and his team over at 7 Mile Radio for doing this interview. It was a phone call last year. All right, so that is that. So said damn. Yeah, what did y'all think about that? The teacher and not the teacher, the lunch lady and what she had to say. And that's also a video. So if y'all could comment under that too if you don't get your comment in before we go. Poor baby, yes. When they need to call CPS, they don't. And then too I've heard that the kids have not been removed either. I know that they said somebody called, but the kids have not been removed according to Roxy Rock's mom. Because somebody asked that question. I did a short. Oh, check out my shorts and videos just in case. I mean, I know some people don't like live and long videos, so I do have a bunch of shorts and videos also. So let me see, where is it at? This one.
I have a question. So did they take Annette foster kids what she had and Shannon kids, or did they just take Shannon kids? No kids have been removed.
There you have it. Roxy Rock's mom confirms no removal have been made. Yeah, that's what they said. So I don't know. Wait, hold on. Let me play a couple of these because I was making some points. Let's see.
In the comments wanting to know.
Oh no, that's the lunch lady.
Don't forget to be there before. Yeah, that was when she sent it. I was supposed to pick them up that day, but I never responded. Yeah. What I did. So then the next one, she responded. They just send the message. So I can delete your number. No, I don't. Like I said, hold on.
Yeah, so check them out though. It's little points I'm making in this. Let's see.
Just coming out Harbor, Jarvis said, I see my niece right there. She walking. Before into Angel's liquor store. I still didn't see her. He pointed across my face. Said she right there. She was coming across the street at that time.
Harbor.
She got in the truck with us. She spoke. I came to IJ. And
yeah, see, we ain't believing that because Angel's liquor store is on Harper Avenue in Harper Woods, which is an hour and 18-minute walk from her bus stop. So they had to have picked her up either at that bus stop or as she was walking towards Bedford area going towards Harper. So them dang sisters, twins too though. Yeah, definitely. Everybody that was around is guilty. They know who this dude was. I mean, and then like they share everything too. So I don't know. They share everything with, and they talk about everything too. I mean, both everybody's offsprings have been affected by this dude, like, and he's still being powered by them. Make that make sense. And this poor girl, like, people seen her, but they didn't see her. And she did everything she could to be normal. I mean, you can't even tell, like, like looking at the CPS video, right? And finding out that they told her and the other one, according to that CPS report, and they did nothing. As a matter of fact, I was able to get a clear copy of what it said. And do you know that the one kid got a whooping for saying it, that he did that? They got whooped. She tried to get help, and it wasn't no way out. The people that you told, they respond like that. So I don't know what happened to her, but the document literally said that the one child, got whooped. And I'm purposely not saying the name, but Shannon, I'm not understanding it. And then, she asked me where 2 Streets was. And it's just crazy. She made sure that she was going to talk about that, but I don't think she realized that it would link her to these streets, maybe. I don't know. But she said it on the stand, but even before she hit the stand, she was said that right here. Tuda asked me where 2 Streets were, at Belford and Outer Drive. Then when they asked you, is it any significance to you? No, I just picked Jarvis up from there on the corner, no address. Like, what? So she frequently picks this man up from other women's house. He frequently walked down the street to get picked up from another woman. They even asked her, was he known to do that? Yeah. She was right there to lick whatever he dropped up. Okay, so no different with this one. No different. She covered, but they can't prove it. And allegedly, everything is alleged. But who sends their daughters to a place like this? Connected to the gas station. All you got to do is open this door and everybody can be all in one room. What was really going on? He said something about $5 first, then he said $25. But when they first asked Cordell, do the kids come? He first said, yeah, sometime they ride their bike, get air, and something else. He ain't say nothing about they come there to do work until they asked him the question. That wasn't his first thing. When they asked him if he ever seen ZIYAH there alone, he said no. But we know that he did it right in front of the kids. Did not care because he was powered by the parents, allegedly. Some family members, friends, and everyone are no good at all. That's when it comes to speaking out in this situation. Yep. And in this situation, it just seemed like they wanted to keep it going. That's what it seemed like. They wanted to keep it going. Like, this happened to me, so it can happen to you too. Get out my ear. Hold on. I just couldn't make sense of it at all because, I mean, a normal mother protect their children. But we heard the mother, right? Annette say in court in front of everybody that she don't mess with her daughter. And they said the daughter was impacted by her husband, Charles. So then I'm wondering, like, if she had a child at 11, how old was Charles? who did that to her? And why do you hate your daughter so much? They say, oh, Charles liked her better and all this stuff. It's just sickening to even say, you know, like, yeah, they'll give anybody CPS, anybody the kids from CPS, it seemed like. Because if you had this kind of stuff going on in your family and you endured this, they don't think that might affect you. But I guess everybody get a second chance, like Shannon said. Who am I to not give him a second chance? Them good folk thought he deserved a second chance. I'm going to give him one too. Or however she said it, you know. However she said it. But okay, y'all, let me see if any... Let me look. Sorry. People, they all getting paid and fed. ZIYAH too. Yes, man, listen, that definitely, like the AFC podcast, he always say babies for benefits. That's big on his channel. And they definitely, people get these CPS kids. I mean, get their own kids. We heard of that at the morning routine that would make you feel like crap for the rest of the week. Not just the day, but the rest of the week. Them kids get on her nerves. Allegedly. That's how she act. They even said that she always in her room. She got food locked up in the den / pantry. She got refrigerators locked up, but they, you know, Shannon made sure to pin that to her channel or her page on Facebook about the, just so you know, you can have food chains on the refrigerator, long as you got one that ain't chained type of thing. She pinned that out of everything. Her niece missing, but she pinned that. And only made 4 posts about her niece. I'm looking at all this stuff. So, and I noticed they kept asking her, what did she do that day? Nothing. They stayed at home. And always, well, my mother said, and my mother said, it's like they can't think without a net. She looking like the madam around here. But ain't nobody in trouble. But oh boy, but they definitely got the right one. But he got some accomplices somewhere, allegedly. Ain't nobody that stupid. I don't think. All right, y'all. So after this live stream and another one is going to pop up. If y'all could please hit the thumbs up on that video. And leave a comment too. It's about Ashley Elkins. We going to get to that. But thank y'all so much. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Make this go viral. Woo. Please smack that thumbs up, y'all. What a finesse saw her at the shop. They all could have seen if they would have just went up there. I wonder what time was Shannon calling him too. Why ZIYAH sitting there for 7:30 or whatever. Get out of here. Shout out to Kicking It with the Rooks. Y'all check her out too. She's a comical channel. And shout out, check out Miss Patty. She's a cooking channel. Shout out to my mom. Shout out to my BFF, my HMIC. And one more time for the one time.
Lock his ass up. Lock his ass up. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. Lock his ass up. Lock his ass.
What in the fuckity fuck kind of shit is this?
Wow.
What in the fuckity?
I don't want nobody fucking with me in these streets. I don't want nobody fucking with me.
Period.
in these streets. I don't want nobody fucking with me in these streets.
Oh, thank you for the gift. Whoever gave me some gifts. I didn't know.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Shout out to y'all.
Ain't nobody got time for that shit. Lock his ass up. Lock his.
Shout out to you. Let's go. Thank you for the gift. Thank you, BFF, for letting me know. Shout out to you. Let's go. Let's go. All right. Peace and love, y'all. We out.